Hello.
Okay, mate.
Let's go.
Okay, mate. So, initial thoughts on the US team?
So, US team, right. So, I will start by saying it's a very, very strong team. But if I'm honest, I'm 40 years of age and I've been watching Ryder Cup since I was about 10, right? There's never been a US team where I've never thought, wow, that's a really strong team. They normally have 12 out of the top 20, right? This is a year where they don't have 12 of the top 20, right? Like, they have a couple way outside the top 20, right? And we'll get to in a minute why there's a couple that feel a bit hard done by, right?
Yep.
But my point normally is that even getting into a European away trip, the US are always bookies' favourite, right? Because they've got so many world-class players. This is probably the first time in my life where I think that not only are we equal, we might even have such a stronger team, right?
We?
Yeah, honestly.
Who's we?
We being Europe, right?
Okay.
We being Europe might even have a stronger team, and certainly with a home advantage. And we'll get to that in a minute. But we're talking about the US team, so I'll start by saying that the 6 qualifiers, Scotty Scheffler, #1 in the world, absolutely picks himself. The most consistent golfer of the last 3 years, very easy to watch. His iron shots, his approach shots are second to none. And if we did a podcast 2 years ago, I tipped Scotty Scheffler to be the #1 point scorer and win the Golden Shield that DJ got. Because I just felt, and he was coming into his own at the time, and I thought he might be a surprise outsider. He's now very much established as the best golfer in the world. His putting is his weakness, and in Ryder Cup, gimmies are very much part of the game. And like the famous Jack Nicklaus putt gimme for a half is synonymous with the spirit of the game in Ryder Cup. However, not everyone is as spiritually well behaved and is happy to give away a 5-footer, right? His weakness, if he's got one, it is his 10 foot and under, right? Putting. And in Ryder Cup, they are what wins you games, right? You need to be chipping in and you need to be putting well, or you need to be getting it to within gimme range, so you don't even.
Do you pair him with someone like? I mean, we'll
get to the pairs, so we'll leave that for now. But there's your #1 in the world. And phenomenal player and deserves to be there. Xander Schauffele, #2, superb player. You saw that at the FedEx Cup where he shot, I think he shot 62 and a 63 to come second to Hovland. Superb player. He's just missing a major off his CV, and then he's in the Hall of Fame, right?
It just consistently gets.
He's always top 5, top 10. If you're looking for a safe bet in a major, a top 5 or a top 10, he's always good odds, and he's going to win one, right? He will. But again, as a Ryder Cup player, he's got such a good relationship with Patrick Cantlay. Them as a team, they just dovetail really well. And anyway, he's qualified. #3, Cantlay. Just talked about him and dovetails with Schauffele. And then he's one of the best putters in the world. And again, we watched him in the President's Cup, and I was a big fan of his. Now, his slow play annoys me as a person, right? But as a putter and as a straight irons player, he's a very good Ryder Cup.
You don't think he gets paid with Brooks Koepka?
He doesn't get put. No. The speed will be the speed at the Ryder Cup. You don't have to go fast. There's only like 2 games going on or 4 games going on, right? So it's fine. But it would be bants.
You know what Brooks is
like. Bants, right? But I mean, they said the last Ryder Cup, they said they're going to pair him and Bryson because they did that stuff. Brooks is always in a popcorn stuff. But anyway, Cantlay and Schauffele is a guaranteed partnership, and that's the #2 and #3 picks. Harman sneaked in by winning the British Open, was probably at vulnerability of not being picked, right? If he hadn't won the British Open, doesn't make it into the top 6.
He's not a star name.
No, and he might have been one of those guys that you don't pick, right? But he did win the British Open, so he did win it, and he deserves to be there, right?
What was his putting stats? I mean, I know we're not on a links course, we are in Europe, but his putting stats, I think he missed 1 putt from
it was insane.
8 feet or something. But
if you can win a British Open usually is the hardest one to win, right? Because it's so alien to the golfers that play on the US Tour, right?
Yeah.
So to be so consistent, and he went wire to wire, phenomenal, right? And normally when I'm punting on a British Open, I never pick the guy that's winning after round 1 because they always falter, right? But he was so strong, and he got stronger and stronger, to be honest. But anyway, he deserves to be there, but I do think if he hadn't made the top 6, I don't think he gets picked, right? So there's a slight weakness in Harman as a team, the chink in the armour. And then here's #2 chink, and it's not a Chinese person, that was not a racist slur. Chink in the armour is Wyndham Clark, right? And Wyndham Clark won the US Open, and I don't think he makes the team. I genuinely don't think Harman and Clark get picked if they don't qualify. Stop laughing, it was good banter, right? It was definitely not racist either. It was a chink in the armour.
I was just going, don't say it, and then
There's 2 meanings to the word. Anyway, number 6. Actually I like him. He's probably my second favourite golfer in the world is Max Homa. Now Max Homa won 2 of his first 6 tournaments last year, right?
Yeah.
So he started off as number 1 in the FedEx for a long time, and he was number 3 in the world, then number 4 in the world, and then number 5 in the world, and then he just kept faltering, but held on to make the number 6 qualifier, which is great for him. And I think he's a bit like, who were we talking about the other week in sports? We're talking about Declan Rice in soccer, right? I think he'll be the captain of banter with the team. He'll be the guy that everyone loves.
I don't think anyone, golf fan, European, outside of Ryder Cup competition, who doesn't like Max Homa? Good
exactly.
Lads.
He's a nice, honest guy, and I think
he's a really good golfer.
He'll be
like you say, but he's not coming in on form.
He's not coming in on form, but he started off so well 18 months ago when the qualifying started. And he played the Fortinet this week to try and, because he was the returning champion. 2, he lives in Napa Valley, he's a California boy. But 3, to get himself back into form as the JT, and they both had decent enough tournament. JT had a really good tournament.
Yeah.
But Homa was the last of the qualifiers, and again snuck in, but I think he would have got a pick, right, based on what we just said. But banter, just everyone liking him, good for the game, and as sweet a swing as you'll ever see as well. So that's your 6 qualifiers. Can't get away for that. The captain Zach Johnson, cannot change those 6, right? And they're now going to go on to the 6 picks. Now 6 picks is a lot these days, but I think it's better than having 8 qualifiers and only 4 picks, because it gives you just more room for manoeuvre, right? Now he's picked Spieth, Thomas, Fowler, Koepka, Morikawa and Sam Burns, right? Koepka makes it for me easiest, quickest pick. The guy is, I think, 8th in the world, and he only registers points in the majors, right? Because he plays in the Live Tour.
Yeah.
So that's a phenomenal achievement, and I was worried when he slipped out of the top 6 that he wasn't going to get picked, and I think that would have been bad for golf, because the Live PGA argument's got nothing to do with picking the best players for your country, right?
Well, it does
just my opinion.
Yeah, but it does to a certain degree.
Yeah, but
it's interesting.
I'm very glad that they picked him, because I think he's made it on merit. He's second in the Masters and winning the US PGA.
He might play on the dirty tour. It's interesting that he. I'm sure you'll get to it. DJ wasn't picked.
Yeah, we'll get there. Anyway, Koepka, very much in my opinion deserving. Like, to get there on based on 3 tournaments is insane, but very much deserved. And then I think he's been Jack Johnson's been very clever with his picks, right? He's picked Spieth and Thomas because they're going to be a team, right? Picked Fowler. Fowler was definitely one of the most informed players this year. Should have won the US Open, and then Wyndham Clark's not even in the team, but won because he's not got enough points, wouldn't get picked. Fowler would have been in automatic.
Yep.
Fowler's, again, a bit like Homa, very good for the dressing room, right? You could pair Fowler with literally any one of the other 11 and they'll have a great round, right? He dovetails well, he's a great putter, he's a great teammate, and again, his form merits a pick for me. So him, Spieth and Thomas are all best pals. Again, that little bit of camaraderie works for me. Koepka. Morikawa for me is the best iron player in the world, right? He's not won many tournaments in the last 18 months, but he's a 2-time major champion. You know how much I like him, and I still think he's the best iron player in the world. Yeah. So in a Ryder Cup, when you're needing a 180 out, land it close, he's second to none.
But this is the big thing with this sort of selection, right? You've got, and to your point, you've got Clark, Harman and Homa that probably, if they don't qualify, I mean, you said Homa would.
I think Homa would have got picked. I don't think Clark and Harman are getting picked, right? So, and I'll get to that in a minute, because I've got who's unlucky not to make it.
Yeah, but you've got Koepka, Morikawa, Spieth, Thomas.
Fowler.
Fowler, I wouldn't put Fowler in the superstar.
Fowler's been in great form the last year.
No, I wouldn't put him in the superstar status of.
Only because he had 2 years in the wilderness.
But he's not a major.
Fowler's still the most popular golfer in the US Tour. Right? He's got all the commercials, everything.
He's well loved, but he's not a Koepka.
But I think the last year, Fowler was leading the US Open up to. He was in the last pairing, and Wyndham Clark beat him.
But it's interesting, like you say. All I'm trying to raise is you've got 4 superstars that have had to be picked by captains.
Of course, which is why the US have 6 picks,
which is interesting
because they have 40 superstars.
How many mates? So that's what, 4. Is that 2 and 2?
Koepka's got 5 for a start. Yeah, 5. Morikawa's got 2. Spieth's got 3. And Thomas has got 2. So there you go, 5, 7, 10, 12 majors from those 4 from those picks. Right. Now, I'll just show you right now. There's 12 from your because Sam Burns and Phil don't have any. No. There's 12 from your lucky picks, right? Yeah. And from your actual qualifiers, Scheffler has 1, Harman has 1. So there's 1, 2, 3. You get 3 from your qualifiers, right?
Yeah.
So Scheffler's got 1, Harman's got 1, and Clark's got 1. Schauffele, Cantley, and Homa still to get 1. Which they might all get 1, but that's why the US team's always been about having that flexibility to pick people, because the qualifying system that the US work with.
That's what it is.
If I play 50 tournaments, I'm going to register a lot of points, right? Whereas if I'm playing 5 or 6 tournaments or 10 or 15 tournaments, right? Because I'm already a mega millionaire and I want to have some fun, right? I play the majors, I play a couple of the big ones. I might not necessarily make you top 6, right? So allow me the wild card pick, because I'm still going to show up and be top 3 or 4.
And to your point earlier, I mean, I know, and you're 100% right, that Europe have always gone into a World Cup ranking or otherwise as underdog to a degree, and always seen as they interact and ignite better collectively than the US.
Well, you would normally have, in any normal Ryder Cup, any average Ryder Cup, you'd have all 12 of the US team would be in the top 20 in the world.
Yeah,
right?
but I think since Paris,
and in Europe we maybe have 5 to 6, well, best, maybe even 4, because of the Aussies and Safas and stuff would normally be dominating as well. Since Live, a lot of the Aussies and Safas have been taken out of that, and again, Cameron Smith's still qualifying in the top 15 at the moment, based on majors, but a lot of them that would normally be there aren't, right? So that could skew it a little bit and make the European team look better because of world rankings, and we'll get to that in a minute because I've got all that. But anyway, to finish on the US team, I think, and I never mentioned Burns because we started talking, but Sam Burns has been picked as the 12th man, right? So I think, like I said, Fowler, Kip, Morikawa, Spieth and Thomas. Even though Thomas is lucky to be there based on his form, he's such a Ryder Cup and President's Cup gun, and his partnership with Spieth is unflappable, right? It's just it's amazing. So you pick him. I would have picked him. He's my second favourite golfer. I love him.
How many times has Poulter picked him?
Of course, when he's like 150th in the world, right? Garcia was well at the form. You pick him.
But he raises to the
Ryder Cup player, right? He's team player. Thomas. He picks himself. Sam Burns is very, very, very lucky to be in this team, in my opinion, at the expense of either Keegan Bradley or Cameron Young. Keegan Bradley's 17th in the world and Cameron Young's 16th in the world. Sam Burns is 20th, right? So there's a big, well, not a big gap, but there's a definitely, if you're going for points, if you're going for...
Glover was close as well. But
Glover came, I mean, form-wise as well. Glover came 2 in a row, winning, but Glover's putting is so erratic, right? I mean, that could fall off a cliff at any moment. Right, I wouldn't trust Glover, but I think Keegan Bradley can feel very unlucky, and Cameron Young was a nailed on, nailed on.
Closest. I must say, Burns, I think, when you consider some of the X factor in this team, and if it goes awry in this American team, to have a when I say steady, it sounds poor, but he drives well.
It drives well and he drives long, right?
And he puts very well.
And he puts very well. I think it's the putting that he's been picked over Cameron 100%, Young, because Cameron Young hits it as long as anyone, as long as Rory McIlroy. He'll go tee with Rory. Right, but I think Sam Burns is a better putter, and when you're looking at Ryder Cup, the two things that matter: get it on the fairway and leave your partner, certainly in foursomes, get it in the middle and leave your partner a nice approach and nail your putt, right? And that's what you got to do. So I think listen, when you embarrass your riches as the US team always is,
100%.
then there's always going to be he didn't deserve it, or he's lucky. For me, the one that no one's talking about that's unlucky is Bryson DeChambeau. Bryson DeChambeau shot 58, a 59, a 60, a 61, a 62 all this season. Now, yes, in the league you don't like, but I don't care if you're playing on a public course. That is still an insane score, right? He's in form. He hits it a mile.
Harmony?
Maybe. And listen, I'm just saying he's the one that no one's talking about being unlucky not to be on the team. Because for me, he's not a bad putter, but yeah, you might be right. But I still think if he was playing the PG, he would have probably made it, right? So he can feel himself unlucky. DJ's definitely on the second side of his career. He's happy with his money. I don't think DJ was the player of the tournament the last Ryder Cup, right? And I think he's won his majors. He'll still compete in the majors. He'll still play his live. He'll get paid $1 bazillion bucks. I don't think he's the guy you want at the moment. I would have picked him, right? If I'm honest, I'd have probably picked him over Burns. Or maybe just Burns, maybe Fowler, but I picked him because he's a Rolls Royce player. But I also think, is he on the downward spiral now where he's happy with his money, he's happy with his career? Yes, right. And I think there's a lot of people that still want to prove, like Max Homa, like Fowler. There's still a lot to prove for those guys. So that's my US team. Where do we go next when we go to Europe?
Well, do you want to just really quickly potential pairings that you're thinking about, mate?
Right. Okay. Cool. So I do have my potential pairings, and I'll go with the easy ones first. Cantley and Schauffele is an absolute guarantee, and I like to do a shoey bet. If I get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, if I get at least 3 of these 6 right, you do a shoey, and if I get less than that, then I do a shoey, right? Well, okay, 4. If I get 4, right, 4.
So I was about to say 2 of the
2 are guaranteed, right? So Cantley Shoffley is a guaranteed pairing.
Yeah.
Spieth Thomas is a guaranteed pairing, right?
Yeah. At least, I mean, they might. If Thomas isn't playing well, he may get He may.
I think that's a guaranteed. They'll start, but whether they start.
You don't think he moves Spieth on to someone else? If Thomas is playing
no. You keep a winning team. They have 9 points as a team.
I know, but he's coming in under form.
He just came third in the fortnight. He's back, right?
He's back, baby.
Anyway, and again, Thomas is. You don't leave JT at home. That's the famous quote. You don't leave JT at home.
But what I'm
right?
saying is, do you leave him on the bench?
You're right. You don't leave JT.
You leave him on the bench
anyway.
and get Spieth to partner.
So anyway, as long as they partner once in the whole
Ryder
Cup, then I get a point for picking a pairing.
100%. That's 100%. What I'm asking you is,
will they do all 5 games? 4 games? They won't.
Say they play 3
but
games.
they have such a strong.
Say they play both games on Friday, and they lose. And mainly because
of course you change it. Of course you change it.
Does he drop both?
Of course.
Does he
100%. You drop both or you drop one, right? Yeah. But of course.
I was testing you.
No, that's fine. You're asking me to pick pairings now. We'll get to what I think each pairing will get, or which each player will get. But you're asking me to pick pairings. Now I know Burns and Scheffler are best buddies, right? Burns hits it a mile, Scheffler hits it a mile, and Burns can putt and Scheffler can't putt.
Yeah,
so I think that's a foursome. That's a foursome in heaven, right?
Yeah.
You've got 2 of the best drivers, and Scheffler going their best approach iron shot in the world, and Burns is a good putter.
Yeah.
That and the best buddies, right?
Yeah.
That for me
Sounds
is
good.
another 3 point for me, right? I think there's no way they don't at least partner at least once in this whole Ryder Cup. They might even be the opening team, right? Because he's number 1 in the world and they're best buddies, right? I've gone for Clark and Fowler. Now this one may work, it may not, because they're both not what you would say superstar pairing, right? Yeah. But Clark and Fowler, again, they know each other from college. They're good mates.
Same putter.
Well, they copied each other's putt, didn't they? They got better from putting from each other.
Clark copied Fowler, didn't
But I also think they're friends, right?
Yeah.
And that means a lot. Homa and Morikawa is my next pairing. 2 California boys, right? Both good fun. And also, the 2 best swings. Maybe JT's got a slightly better swing, but the 2 best swings on the team. They, as a foursome, right? Not 4 ball, because there's no long hitter with those 2. But as a foursome, I think that's a pretty good team. And finally, Harman and Koepka. I've got Harman being just the Carmen Harman, right, against the Rocket Koepka, right? So I've got your long-hitting superstar Koepka, and the guy who's going to be the Carmen influence who can putt, right? Very solid putter, Harman. I've got them as a team. Now, they may decide to mix it up, but
as long as they play
together, but if they play at least one team, then I got a point each one, right?
Yeah.
And I think I'm pretty happy with that.
Yeah, I mean, I think the Cantley Schauffele Spieth Thomas is a given. The Burns Schauffele one is exciting. Scheffler rather, I'd be excited to see that one actually.
Yeah.
And we'll see what happens with the rest. I mean,
and again, these may or may not happen, but and you don't, because you've got those 3 doesn't mean you don't swap one of those 3 players into one of those, and then that ruins my teams. But
I think the Clark Fowler,
Homa
Morikawa, and Harman Koepka have a lot more uncertainty, and we'll see what happens.
Yep.
The Burns Schauffele, I'm excited to see.
I think they'll play their best pals. I think they'll play. I think that's the number 3. That's the 1, 2, 3 team, but they'll play day 1. But anyway, that's just my opinion. So what are we doing now?
We'll move swiftly on to our second quiz.
Oh,
Our already famous
exciting
quizzes are off. Let's have a look. So
right, let's go.
Choose a quiz.
This one. Pick them both.
Number 3. That's a bad mistake.
Oh my god! You said that was the first one. Give me an easy one.
Move over. Okay. Ooh, this is a great question. Great question. Credit to the quizmaster, who played in at least 5 Ryder Cups without ever losing a singles match.
Ian Poulter.
No.
Ian Poulter's never lost a singles match.
He's not. He's definitely lost a singles.
He's never lost a singles match. He may not have played in 5 though, but he's definitely not lost a singles match.
He would be close to 5.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, but must be where you've gone wrong.
Or maybe your questions.
No, I'm pretty sure he's lost the singles.
He's never lost a singles match.
You sure?
100%.
Harris?
No, he beat the Postman. Wore the Postman outfit. He's never lost.
Do you want the real answer?
You can give me a answer, but wait a minute. Ian Poulter maybe not played 5.
Him.
Okay, so Tiger Woods has lost everyone pretty much. He's terrible. Colin Montgomery. Did I get it?
Yeah.
Boom. I honestly would say check Ian Poulter as well, because I don't think he's lost a single match.
Who was the last playing captain of the Ryder Cup?
Playing captain, okay.
The
last one, okay.
Which is obviously going to be a while ago.
It's obviously going to be a while ago, okay.
Well, just because...
Tiger Woods was the playing captain at the President's Cup.
Yeah, but as it's...
Right.
I mean, Ryder, we've spoken about the difference between the two, but you used to have one, maybe, assistant back in the day.
No, it's
just
much more professional now. Okay, played and captain, that's a hard gig.
Yeah.
But I'm going to say, it wasn't Seve, because Seve was captain in '97, he definitely wasn't playing, so it's not Seve. So go back further, probably going to be a European, because the Americans have so much talent, you would need to do both. So I will go with Bernard Gallagher.
Bernard Gallagher?
Yeah.
No.
Who was it?
Arnold Palmer. 63.
Wow, that's really old. Okay, one each.
63, yeah.
Yep.
I was going to give you a hopeful hint had you not got Colin Montgomery earlier. So.
Cool.
Right. The US won at Kiowa Island in 1991 when Bernard Langer missed a 6-foot putt. Who was his opponent?
1991. So I'm a ripe old age of 8 here.
No, but I remember this one.
Oh, you remember this one?
Well, I don't remember, but I've seen so many videos of this.
Right.
Just because it's a
absolute guess.
Beautiful
Corey
course.
Pavin. Absolute guess.
I know. My immediate thought was.
Is it Fred Couples?
No, it's Hale Irwin.
I was never getting that.
Yeah.
Okay, 2-1 to you.
Right.
You can tell these questions are slightly skewed.
Okay.
There you go.
How many birdies did Ian Poulter make in the final 4-ball on Saturday at Medina to give Europe
he got
hope?
He got 5 at 6 in the last end. At the whole 18?
No, how many did he make in a row?
5.
5.
2 each.
Fuck, that was just
insane. With his purple boots on, his purple shoes.
That weird sort of purple
So I'll tell you
shirt.
fans out there the funny story about that. So I was in the Gold Coast, it was the grand final weekend, rugby league, and the Swans won, 2012. I went to bed, put a bet on, and I took Europe to win, and they were like 20-1 or something, they were massively behind, and I took the Storm to beat the Bulldogs, and I took the Swans to beat the Hawks, right? 3 underdogs, right? And I went to bed, like a 5 or a 10, and woke up $800. Nice! I've never won a bet since, that's 11 years ago. But yeah, the miracle Medina, we were in Australia in the Gold Coast, we missed you woke up to the result rather
if
than...
I'm putting a bet down, I'm going to be doing a shoey.
Yeah. Okay, so we're 2 each.
Yeah.
Let's go.
If I put a bet down, I'm doing a shoey. What is considered the greatest act of sportsmanship at the Ryder Cup?
Mentioned it earlier.
To who?
It was to the captain. It's alright. It's alright.
I've got a chance.
It's Tony Jacklin. Tony Jacklin, US Open winner, Tony Jacklin. It's a very, very famous sporting moment in all of sport, not just golf and not just Ryder Cup. But the guy has like a 4 or 5 footer, which is missable, and he conceded to tie the Ryder Cup, right? So instead of being ball hogging, I need to win this at all costs, he goes, I wouldn't put you through that, because if you miss that, that's going to ruin your life.
Could
right?
ruin your career.
It could ruin your career, could ruin your mojo, could ruin everything.
A lot of Americans didn't like that.
A lot of Americans didn't like it, and again, same when Tiger conceded in Medina in 2012, right? They were still going to lose, but again, Tiger did the right thing. He did the Jack
100%.
Nicklaus approach, and it's better to not make them make it when you assume they will make it, but don't put them through that trauma of a 5 foot or a 3 foot that I do for fun and a living, right? No, it does matter, but what I'm saying, don't make the occasion bigger than the
America
puck.
retained it. All right, America.
But the draw they retained it anyway.
Retained it.
But what a sport! What a sport!
And Europe are going to retain it with Molinari and Woods. But
yeah,
okay, mate. So that's me, unfortunately.
Right. So you're doing a shoey. 1 quiz each as well. So that's good. Well done.
Oh, she's a beauty.
Well done.
A real nice flavour of beer, blue cheese, ready to come through. It's gorgeous.
Nice.
If you're not watching,
nice.
Shoey is obviously a nice little beer in the shoe, and you've got to knock it on your head. Right. What we'll be doing is we'll be going through GMAC's thoughts on the Europeans.